All right, so you're just gonna take your knees out nice and wide, bring your big toes together behind you. We're gonna take our first few minutes together just tuning into our breath. So as you sort of settle into your child's pose, you're going to begin to deepen your breath. You're working to bring those inhales all the way down into your belly if you can. Allow your belly to round with the inhale. And then on the exhale, you're bringing your belly button as close to your spine as you can. Come all the way to the bottom of that breath. And use your inhales to sit a little bit deeper into the hips. So you might use your hands to push yourself backward. We're dropping the hips down onto the heels if they're not there yet. I want you to go ahead and take one more big breath here. And then you're going to leave your left arm where it is, but lift your forehead and you're going to bring your right arm straight across your chest. So you're taking it palm face up on the floor, and then you're bringing your forehead back down to the mat. So just applying some pressure to the outside of that right shoulder. And we're going to sit here for just a couple of breaths. But after your first couple, when you start to feel that right shoulder release, I want you to work on squaring the left shoulder down to the mat. So really press that left shoulder down. It might feel like it's squared, but it's probably not. So keep pressing it down toward the floor. You'll intensify the stretch on the outside of that right shoulder. And then you can lift your forehead, extend your right arm back out. We'll do the same thing on the other side. You're bringing the left arm straight across the chest, palm face up. Bring your forehead back down to the mat. Kind of just settle in here a little bit. Sink the hips back toward the heels. And then when you're ready, begin pressing that right shoulder down toward the mat. Lift your forehead, extend that left arm back out, and then you're just going to press forward into a tabletop position. So bringing the knees about hip width apart, hands about shoulder width apart. We're taking a couple of rounds of cat and cow. So on your exhale, you're going to be rounding your back, tuck your chin and pelvis under. And on your inhale, drop your belly button down, roll your shoulders back, take your chin all the way up. And then just begin to work through a couple of rounds at your own pace, really exaggerating each of those motions. And if there's one pose that feels a lot better for you than the other, you can hang out there rather than move between the two. It's completely up to you. And then whenever you're ready, I want you to curl your toes under. We're going to meet back in our downward dog. And you'll just spend your first few moments here just walking it out. So taking turns bending each knee, dropping the opposite heel flat to the floor. And this week, for some reason, was super, super upper body intense. So I want you to really work on pressing your chest through. So almost like you were going to set your chest against your thighs. Obviously, that is probably physically impossible in this pose, but you're just going to work on dropping the chest through, big stretch through your shoulders, and then let off a little bit. And then continue to walk out the backs of your legs. We're going to be bringing our breath together, so I'd like you to bring your big toes to touch. Take a big breath in, rise up onto all 10 toes, and we're just going to hang out here. So you're shifting your weight forward into the palms of your hands, still dropping the crown of your head toward the mat. We're just stretching along the bottoms of our feet. As we get into winter and our feet are bare, less and less of the time doing these stretches for the bottoms of your feet becomes more and more important. So make sure you're really stretching out or rolling out your feet, especially after workouts, since our toes are not allowed to move freely in our shoes. Go ahead and take another big breath in. As you exhale, release your heels toward the mat. We're going to do that 2 more times. Big breath in, rise up, and exhale the heels to the floor. Big breath in, rise up. Exhale your heels to the mat. And then when you're ready, begin walking your feet toward the front of your mat. You're stepping your right foot up just behind your right wrist, left foot up behind your left wrist, and we're staying in this forward fold position. So slight bend in the knees, belly coming to rest heavy on the thighs. You can grab opposite elbows here, or you can allow your hands to hang toward the mat. Maybe your shoulders need a stretch, and you interlace your fingers at your lower back. Allow the chest to open, sort of whatever you would like to do. So I want you to release your hands down to the mat if they're not there yet. And we are going to be wrapping our arms around the backs of our legs. So you're probably going to have to take a little bit bigger bends in your knees to get there. And I really want you to wrap your arms around the backs of your legs tight, like you're going to give them a big hug. You're just hanging out here. Crown of the head is still dropped to the floor. And you're going to hold onto your legs in the same position you are with bent knees. I want you to slowly straighten out your legs. So you're going to feel that tension. Stay deep in that forward fold. Hold on to your legs. Continue to breathe. Drop back into that bend in your knees. Give your legs a little bit of a break. We're going to do it again. Begin to straighten them out. Big stretch. Take a bend in the knees. Get a little bit of a break. We're going to do that one more time. When you're ready, straighten out the legs. Go ahead and release your hands down to the mat in front of you. Begin to heel toe your feet together. And then nice and slow, I want you to take your time rising up. We're just coming up one vertebra at a time. When you're ready, sweep your hands overhead. We're going to grab onto that left wrist with the right hand and lean for the right side of the room. So big side body stretch, really stretch through your shoulder. You're keeping both shoulders back. And come back to center. Switch your grip to the other wrist and lean to the left. Come back to center, allow your hands to separate, and we're going to sweep all the way into a forward fold. So releasing the hands and the crown of the head back toward the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. On your exhale, plant both hands, step your feet back. So you're coming into a plank position. So we're going to be doing loaded planks today. I know, I can probably hear you guys groaning even without the sound on. But we are going to do it because my shoulders are killing me, so we're going to avoid any tricep stuff. So you are going to be dropping the hips back. So push backward through your hands, and you're bringing the shin bone parallel to the floor here. So your back should be nice and flat. You're shooting your butt straight back, shins parallel to the floor. And you should be feeling this mostly in your quads. Go ahead and come back to your plank. Load it. Plank. One more time, load it. Back to your plank. I want you to work through your flow, whatever it is. You can do a tricep push-up if you want to. Back bend of your choice. Meet back in downward dog. If you want to skip all of that and just push back, you're more than welcome to do that as well. So we're going to pick up the pace for our sun A's a little bit. So from your downward dog, when you're ready, hop, step, or jump forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale to heart center. Inhale, back to mountain. Exhale, sweep down. Inhale, halfway lift. On your exhale, plant both hands, step your feet back, find your plank position. Load it. Plank. Load it. Plank. Last one, load it. Hold it here. Chin should be parallel to the floor, nice flat back. Shoot your hips back to your plank. Complete your flow. We'll meet back in downward dog. From your downward dog, when you're ready, hop, step, or jump forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale to heart center. Inhale, back to mountain. Exhale, sweep down. Inhale, halfway lift. On your exhale, plant both hands, step your feet back, find your plank. Load it. Back to plank. Load it. Back to plank. Load it. Hold it here. Pull that belly button in, kind of check in with all those parts of your body. Make sure that they're looking and feeling exactly the way that they're supposed to. Come back to plank. Work through your flow, and we'll meet back in downward dog. From your downward dog, when you're ready, hop, step, or jump forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale to heart center. Inhale, back to mountain. Exhale, sweep down. Inhale, halfway lift. On your exhale, plant both hands, step your feet back, find your plank position. Load it. Plank. Load it. Plank. Last one, load it. Hold it here. Pull your belly button in. Your ears should be right between your biceps. Back to plank. Complete your flow. And meet back in downward dog. We're going to take just one more Sun A together before we get started into our series. So from your downward dog, when you're ready, hop, step, or jump forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale to heart center. Inhale, back to mountain. Exhale, sweep down. Inhale, halfway lift. On your exhale, plant both hands, step your feet back. Find your plank. Load it. Plank. Load it. Plank. Last one, load it, hold it here. Shins parallel to the floor, really push backward. Stay with it. Back to plank. Work through your flow. We'll meet back in downward dog. Woo! I know I was trying to steer clear of the shoulders today, but holy smokes, mine are sore. But I think we're going to stretch them a little bit. All right, from your downward dog, when you're ready, go ahead and kick that right foot back. You're going to step your right foot through. In between your hands, you're rising up into a warrior one. So you're going to pivot that left heel down. Right 5 toes are facing the front of your mat. Left 5 toes are going to be pigeon-toed to the left front corner. Hips and shoulders square to the front of the mat. You're sinking all the way into that right knee. I hardly ever do this pose because I cannot stand it. I would much rather be in a crescent with that heel lifted. This just feels weird. Go ahead and sink in. Sink a little bit deeper. We're going to keep our series short and sweet today. Nice and slow, I want you to begin to hinge forward. And we're just taking it as slow as we can. Pull the belly button in. Still hinging. Keep going. Go ahead and release the hands down on either side of that right foot. Kick the right foot back. Release it down. Shift forward. Load your plank. Back to plank. Load it. Plank. Last time, load it. Hold it here. Back to plank. Complete your flow. We'll meet back in downward dog. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. When you're ready, kick your left foot back. Step it through. Warrior one. So check in. Draw that left knee outward. Allow the hip to open. Come all the way into the left knee. Hips and shoulders square to the front of the mat. We're going to begin to hinge. Nice and slow. Sinking a little bit deeper into that left knee. Pull the belly button in. A little slower. Release both hands down. Kick the left foot back. And release. Shift forward, plank. Load it. Plank. Load it. Last one, plank. Load it, hold it here. Woo! Back to plank. Work through your flow. We'll meet back in downward dog. So we're going to complete a sun A in between our series. If you need a little bit of a break or a breather, get a water break, you can go ahead and take that here. If you'd like to join me when you're ready, hop, step, or jump forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale to heart center. Inhale, back to mountain. Exhale, sweep down. Inhale, halfway lift. On your exhale, plant both hands. Step your feet back. Find your plank. Load it. Back to plank. Load it. Plank. Last one, load it. Hold it here. Shoot those hips straight back. Back to plank. Work through your flow. We'll meet back in downward dog. So we're going to add a little bit of core here. So from your downward dog, when you're ready, kick that right foot back. You're going to bring your right knee to your right elbow. Hold it there. So just shifting forward into that three-limbed plank. Good. Pull your belly button in, kick it back. Right knee, left elbow. So drop the right hip down, kick it back. Bringing it back to the right side, right knee, right elbow. Without kicking back, shift it to the left. Back to the right, kick it back. Step it through, rise up, warrior one. Sink all the way into that right knee. Bring it directly over your ankle. So we're not going to be moving the lower half of our body here. Take a big breath in. On your exhale, open up, warrior two. So here you can really feel that hip opener. Draw the right knee out. Sink a little bit deeper. So we're going to focus a little bit on balancing today. You're going to be hinging forward, planting that right hand to the inside of the right foot. And then when you're ready, you're going to be kicking off of that left foot and coming into a half moon. With control, release both hands and the crown of your head back down to the mat. So just squaring your hips down, that left foot up might go up just a little bit higher. Just coming into your standing split. And then with control, I want you to release that left foot down and come into like a runner's lunge. So you've got one hand on either side of that right foot, deep bend in the right knee, left leg is straight with the heel lifted. Without pushing off with your hands, rise up, find your tall crescent. So we're gonna work the legs a little bit. This will be the last time we do this on half of the series though. So go ahead and straighten out that right leg. Sink a little bit deeper. Straighten it out. Sink back in. Last time, straighten it out. Sink back in, hold it here. So that front knee is directly over your ankle. You're gonna drop the back knee down right before it hits the floor and pause. Without coming out of the bend in the front knee, drive the left heel back, straighten the leg. Again, drop the knee down. Straighten it. Drop it down, hold it. Straighten it out, tall crescent, begin to hinge forward nice and slow, pull the belly button in. Release both hands to either side of that right foot, kick the right foot back and release. Woo, that burns. From your downward dog, when you're ready, shift forward, find your plank. Load it. Back to plank. Load it. Back to plank. Last one, load it, hold it here. Back to plank. Complete your flow. We'll move back in downward dog. Holy smokes. So when you're ready, we're going to complete that same series on side B. So when you're ready, kick your left foot back. I'm not ready. I'm just trying to talk myself into this. All right, kick your left foot back. Bring your left knee to your left elbow. Hold it there. Kick it back. Left knee, right elbow. Kick it back. We're bringing it back to the left. Swing it to the right. To the left. Kick it back. And step that left foot through, rise up. Warrior one. So just pivoting that right heel down. Sink all the way into the left knee. So hips and shoulders squared to the front of your mat. You're just driving the outside of that right foot down into the mat. Sink a little deeper. Take a big breath in. Open up, warrior two. So you can focus now on drawing that left knee outward toward the left pinky toe and just sink a little bit deeper. So we're going to begin to hinge. Plant that left hand to the inside of the left foot. And then whenever you're ready, you're going to kick off the right foot. You're coming into that half moon. With control, release both hands down. Allow the crown of your head to drop. With control, slowly release that right foot down. You're rising up into a tall crescent. So just find your lunge. Sink all the way into that left knee. Straighten out the front leg. Back into that 90-degree bend. Straighten it out. Tall crescent. Once more, straighten it out. All the way back in, find that 90-degree bend in the left knee. We're gonna do the same thing on the back leg. Drop the back knee down, allow it to hover. Drive the heel back, straighten the leg. Drop it down. Drive it back. Last one, drop it down. Drive it back, find your tall crescent, pull the belly button in, begin your hinge. Nice and slow, I know your hip's burning. When you're ready, release both hands down to the mat. Kick that left foot back. Release it down, shift forward, find your plank. Load it. Back to plank. Load it. Back to plank. Last time, load it, hold it here. Back to plank, work through your flow. We'll meet back in downward dog. So we're just gonna take a sun A to close our series, and we're gonna be done with that shit, because that was brutal. From your downward dog, when you're ready, hop, step, or jump forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale to heart center. Inhale, back to mountain. Exhale, sweep down. Inhale, halfway lift. On your exhale, plant both hands, step your feet back, find your plank. So bear with me here, we're almost done with these loaded planks. Load it. I want you to hold it here. So get comfy. Your ears are right between your biceps. Shins parallel to the floor. Just pressing the hips back. Come back to plank. Take a big breath, load it. Hold it here, pull that belly button in. It's all right if your legs shake. Woo, if you couldn't see mine shaking, I'm surprised. Back to plank. Load it. Continue to breathe. We're almost done. Back to plank. We've got 2 more. Woo, load it. Back to plank. Ah, last one. Load it. Hold it here. Ah, go ahead and release the knees down. Drop them out nice and wide, big toes together behind you. Push back into your child's pose if that doesn't really hurt like hell, because for me it does. So just take a moment here, or in your tabletop position, just allowing your knees to sway from, or your hips to sway from side to side, whatever feels good to get that tension out. Ah, that hurts. Hey guys, let's stretch. That was good, I think. We got our workout. We're gonna start with the shoulders, mostly because it's a laying position. So go ahead and shift forward all the way down onto your belly. You're dropping your hands out into a T. We're gonna start with just the shoulder stretch. So your palms are face down, and you're just gonna roll over to that right side. So pause on your right side body. Your head should be able to come down to rest. If this is too intense a stretch for your right shoulder, you can walk your hand down towards your glutes a little bit. If you want to intensify, you can allow your hips to fall open, or maybe your left arm to fall behind your back. Hey, where are you going? I'm still here. All right, when you're ready, you're coming back to your belly. You can pause there briefly if you'd like. And then we're going to do that same stretch over the left shoulder. So take that left hand palm face down, roll onto your left side body, amplify or modify however you need to for this side, even if you didn't for side A.
All right, so you can go ahead and come back to your belly. Just take it nice and slow. We're not quite done here. We're gonna drop our hands back out into a T, but we're gonna focus on the scorpion stretch, which is back, hips, legs, less on the shoulders. So you still keep your hands in a T, and we're just gonna bring this left foot up and over. Take it over toward the right hand. So we're gonna just hold for a couple of breaths. And then nice and slow with control, I want you to bring that left leg across your body and plant it back down. So we're gonna do the same thing on the other side, but I want you to do it with control. So it's an intentional movement. Bring that right leg up and over. See if you can tap that left hand. Just hold here. You feel that stretch through your core, your back, your hips. Maybe that right quad if it's really tight. And then with control, lift that right foot, bring it all the way back and plant it. So we're going to do one more on each side. We're just going to pick up the pace a little bit. So still moving with control, bring that left leg up and over. Hold for a breath. And then with control, come all the way back to your belly. We'll do the same thing on the other side, right leg up and over. With control all the way back to your belly. So we're going to focus a little bit more on back bends. From your belly, I would like you to plant your hands by your shoulders. And we're just going to push up into a baby cobra. So elbows are shooting, well, you can't really see me because Marshall's in the way. Elbows are still shooting straight back. They're squeezed into your ribs, but you've got a bend in your elbows here. And your fingers are splayed wide. So your hips should still be glued down. Sort of activating the triceps here. Sure you're feeling them from yesterday if you were at boot camp. I can't really remember what I programmed for virtual, but I'm sure it was equally brutal. Go ahead and release all the way down. Take a short break here. And then when you press up, I want you to press into an almost straight arm. So slight bend still in the elbows. They're not locked out here. This is your full cobra. Hips are still glued down, a little bit more intense on the lower back. So you should still be feeling this in your triceps. They're still holding your weight. We're making the muscles work in this pose rather than locking out the elbows and just sort of hanging out. So still keeping everything active. Go ahead and release down. This time you're pressing all the way up to tall arms. So lock them out, coming into your seal pose. So you can amplify or modify your seal pose however you'd like. Maybe you walk your hands out in front of you because it's too intense a stretch for your lower back. Or you can walk them in toward you and intensify that back bend a little bit. But whichever one you choose, a lot of times we sort of sink into our shoulders because, again, it's not requiring any muscle to hang out there. I want you to press through the palms of your hands, so roll your shoulders down and back. It's going to force you to hold that position with your muscles rather than just letting your skeleton do the work. I know, it's a lot harder. So continue to press through the palms of your hands, come up out of your shoulders. And then whenever you're ready, go ahead and release down. You can push up. And then when you're ready, you're kicking your legs through. Come onto your butt. We're going to take a couple of stretches here before we end our practice together. So let's start with the hips. You're going to bring the soles of your feet together. I apologize if you can't really see me. Marshall is very large. So you're going to bring the soles of your feet together. Allow your knees to fall out to the sides. And then I want you to walk your butt up as close as you can to the backs of your heels. You're going to interlace your fingers around the bottoms of your feet and use them as leverage to draw yourself down, but then very gently push your elbows down to the floor, or use your elbows to push your knees down to the floor as well. So just allowing the hips to open. Take your time rising back up. You're going to extend your legs out in front of you. So just coming into a staff pose. You're going to cross your right leg over your left, and I want you to bring that right foot all the way up toward your left hip. So as close to your hip as you can. We're going to start just by hugging it in. So wrap both of your arms tight around that right leg. You should feel a pretty intense stretch along the back of that right leg, in through your glute, maybe your lower back if it's really tight. But I just want you to really hug that leg in. And then you can release your right leg, but I want you to leave it where it is, and we're going to come into a twist. So you're going to plant the outside of that left arm on the right knee and use it as leverage. Just draw yourself into a twist, planting that right hand behind you, and then just taking your gaze over your right shoulder. And you come back to center. You can uncross your legs. We're going to recross the other direction. So you're bringing that left foot all the way up toward the right hip. And then hug around that left leg. Really squeeze it in. All right, you can release that hug, leave that left foot where it is. We're twisting over the left shoulder. Use that right arm to drive yourself a little bit deeper into your twist. Go ahead and come back to center. You are going to bring the soles of your feet back together, just like we did in our butterfly pose, but this time you're going to allow yourself to lay all the way back. So just come into a reclined butterfly. Soles of the feet are still together, knees falling out to the sides, and try to be a little bit more active here. So you're going to be pushing your feet into one another. It's going to sort of drive your knees a little bit closer to the mat, which is what we're going for here, really opening the hips. Our yoga class is bothering Marshall. He's out of here. So big stretch through the hips. Continue to press the soles of the feet into one another. We're almost done here. So when you're ready, you can draw your knees back together. Extend your legs out long. I've got a little bit of core for you before we move into our final relaxation together. So you're going to be taking your hands overhead like you're holding a beach ball in between your hands, and you're making your body as long as you can. So point the toes toward the front of the mat. You're reaching for the wall behind you, making your body as long as you can. And then nice and slow, it's going to sort of look like a zombie, like we're coming out of a grave. You're going to begin to lift your hands from the mat, then your shoulders, then rounding up one vertebra at a time. We're going to take this nice and controlled. You're going to rise all the way up into a boat pose. So legs out. You can take a bend in your legs if you need to modify, or you can keep them straight if you want a little bit more difficulty. But I want you to keep the shoulder blades down and back. So we're not rounding our shoulders here. So just holding, and then nice and slow, we're going to reverse. And I want it to be just as controlled. So we're not just allowing ourselves to flop back. Take it as slow as you can. And we're coming all the way back to our starting position. So we're going to do that again, but we're going to build on that boat pose. Begin to lift the hands, then the shoulders. Each vertebrae with control, all the way up into your boat pose. So just find your boat pose. And we're going to come into a couple of twists here. So if your legs are straight and at some point you need to bend them, you can go ahead and modify however you'd like. You're going to be opening up. So take that right hand back. Back to center. Left hand back. Back to center. And then slowly reverse. With control, as much control as you can. Stretch. Make your body as long as you can. We're going to do it again. Begin to round up. We're meeting in our boat pose. Just take your time getting there. Find your boat. Take the right hand back. Back to center. Left hand back. Back to center. We're coming back to the right. Center. And the left. Center. Nice and slow. Begin to come all the way back to the mat. And release. Whew. We're going to do just one more of those. When you're ready, begin to round up. We're meeting in our boat pose. Take your time getting there. Keep that left arm extended. Back with the right. Back to center. Back with the left. Back to center. To the right. Stay with me. Center. Left. Center, you guessed it. Back to the right. Last time. Center. Left. Center. Hold it here. If your legs aren't straight yet, straighten them. Hold it. Nice and slow. Lower down. So you're going to come flat to your back or any other pose that you can relax and close your eyes. We're taking just a couple breaths here to end our practice together. And then you can lay there on your floor as long as you'd like. Just take a couple of breaths here. Begin to slow your heart rate just a little bit if it's up. Let's take just a couple more breaths here. When you're ready, you can begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. You're going to take your legs out long, reach your hands overhead, make your body as long as you can. And take your time rolling off to your side before pressing up into seated easy. Allowing your eyes to close, your hands to come together at heart center. We're going to close our practice with 3 big breaths together. So go ahead and take a big breath in. Let it out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in, sweep your thumbs to your third eye. Breathe out as you bow forward. Namaste. Hey, thanks for joining me, guys. Have a good rest of your day. Oh, I can't hear any of you. Let me take this off of recording. This does